explain well. Exclusive to The Drive with Robin Ross.
Every afternoon at about 5:10, we drill into something a little more serious for a couple of minutes. And today we're talking about the gigantic backlog when it comes to issuing visas for people to stay in South Africa.
You ready for a story time, Rob?
Asseblief, Roz.
So, my husband moved to this country in 2007 for a job, right? So the job was advertised, obviously, so that they went through all the processes and whatever, and he was the best candidate. So he moved here from the UK to do this job. He was given a work permit that had to be renewed every 2 years. Then when we got married, we had to be married for 5 years, and then he would get his permanent residence, right?
Yeah.
If it was approved upon application. My husband got his ID book with a permanent residence ID number about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks?
We would literally go to Home Affairs every 2 years to renew he had a hybrid work permit. So it was a work permit and accompaniment of a South African spouse. Every 2 years we would go. Then we applied for the permanent residence. In 2018, he got his ID 3 weeks ago.
How is that possible?
16 years this man has been waiting for a legitimization of his position in this country, to be married to me, to raise our kids, to live here. I can tell you horror stories about applications. Then you get there, you get the list of documents that you need to submit. Then you get there and someone says, oh no, this is the wrong list. No, but the website says this. They don't care. This is what we must have. Then it must be certified. Heen en weer. Dit was rarig 'n hellish tyd. So dit is amper vir ons onwerklik dat hy nou 'n ID-boek het.
He's finally allowed to be here.
He's finally allowed to be here. But the thing is, companies have reported that some visa applications can take up to 48 weeks to be accepted. That's a whole year. Nou sê maar jou visa is nou besig om uit te hardloop, dan moet jy uit die land uit geld spandeer op 'n vlugkaartjie of 'n buskaartjie of whatever en dan nou terugkom sodat jy wettiglik in die land is.
Is that 48 weeks to be accepted? Then it still has to be approved.
Correct.
Those are two different processes.
Those are two different processes.
48 weeks to simply say, hey, we got the documents.
Yes. So the Minister of Home Affairs said that they expected the backlog to be cleared by June 2024. And from what I've been through with this husband of mine in the past 16 years, I'm not holding my breath that in June 2024, we are going to have a different conversation about what the backlog is.
The temporary residency visa list stays at 74,000 people waiting for their temporary permits to stay in South Africa, and another 44,000 people waiting for, like Chris did, for his permanent residency. These are people who've come, taken jobs, brought skills into the country, need to stay here. Companies need to keep staff on. They're getting married, they're having families. Dis belaglik.
Weet jy, ons het op 'n stadium gedink hy sou moes teruggaan Engeland toe. Ons het op 'n stadium gedink dit gaan nie, dat sy werkspermit en die hernuwing daarvan nie betyds sou gedoen word nie, even though we did it with way more than enough time. Want my man is 'n type A, dit word gedoen wanneer dit gedoen moet word, selfs meer vroegtydig as dit. And it just was a hellish experience. So if anyone else is struggling with this, like, I can relate so hard to just waiting, and then you call Home Affairs, there's no answer, there's no kind of electronic process you can follow. It'll just either say pending or submitted to approval, and that can take like months.
A year.
Almost a year.
No, that's wild. And it's not, visas are such annoying things.
Yeah.
There is nothing I loathe paying for more in the world than a visa to go somewhere. I was born on this planet. I should be able to go around it. I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned. And England have just introduced a thing this very week. The UK government has decided they're changing the thresholds for people who are allowed to go there. So if an English person marries a foreigner, you used to be able to have to show that the England person earned £18,000 a year before you could bring your spouse to the country. They've just tripled it. to £39,000 a year. 75% of the population in England doesn't earn £39,000 a year. And there are tens of thousands of families there now who, one person is Brit, the other one is from somewhere else. How many South Africans do you know that are married to a British person? How many Australians get married to Brits, etc., etc.? And they've now just tripled that threshold. They're literally going to tear families apart. They're literally going to be situations where mom can stay with kids and dad must go and live in another country.
Yeah.
Like, it's unconscionable that families and people who love one another are having to jump through all of these hoops and spend all of this money, and on a whim someone can sign a piece of paper, or an application can be delayed, in South Africa's case, or your visa can run out, and now you've met someone here, you've got a family, you're engaged, you've got a child, you've got a job, nou moet jy loop.
Weet jy wat, en vir die mense wat steeds nou wag vir enigstens terugvoer oor hulle aansoek, I can't even understand how the backlog is going to be cleared, because daar's die backlog en dan is daar die mense wat nou ook bykom met hulle aansoeke. So if you've got this backlog in the tens of thousands, how are you even able to process the applications that are coming in fresh? Waar gaan hulle begin? My mind is just like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. They said they would clear the backlog by June of 2024. It now seems like the minister has come out and said maybe another 5 months after that. So they're talking end of 2024, early 2025. And according to your experience, we're going to be surprised if that's true.
Don't hold your breath.
Exclusive to Jacaranda FM. It's The Drive with Rob and Roz. Jacaranda FM.